Good people, I am so happy to have you back on the JE show. I'm starting to get more comfortable, with sharing my thoughts with you guys. For a long time, a lot of people thought that I was very opinionated. They thought that I was very arrogant. They thought that I was a know it all. And often it put me in positions where I would kind of second guess or kind of question, my opinions or my thoughts, um, my feelings. And you will rarely hear me talk about feelings, but I do realize the more that I get older that feelings are really more intricate, in our lives compared to basing things off of yes and no, black and white, or reality, or snap out of that dream. Because sometimes the way that we feel is one way, but the way the reality is a different way. And so today, I want to share a story with you guys that I experienced this past weekend. I was out patronizing a local business here in Birmingham, Alabama. It's called Magic City Grill. And while I was there, I'm getting ready to purchase my food. And right when I'm getting ready to grab my bag, a young lady runs into the restaurant and she's frantic. She looks like she's in need of help. And as she flashes past my eyes, I look back and I see a guy about 6'5", 260, storming through the door. He's kind of grunting a little bit, but he's charging directly after her, requesting that she come here. I think I even heard, come here, bitch. Uh, come back here, something of that sort. And so, in the midst of this, I'm looking and I'm like, man, she runs to the back of the store near the cash register, near the kitchen area. So now she's back here with the employees. And I'm looking and he runs up to her and he corners her in the wall. And so at this point, I'm like, Justin, what do you do? What do you do in a situation like this? And for some of you guys who know me, I have this thinking process that I use. It's called first thought, second thought, third thought. And in the midst of this, my first thought was jump in between and break it up and see if you can separate them. And I thought, well, I don't know, because you don't really know what the issue is between these people. You don't really know what happened. And so getting in between, and with the past history that I've had of trying to break up things, and it doesn't always go well because I'm a peacemaker, but I've put my life at risk trying to put down situations, or cause the water to stop boiling in situations that had nothing to do with me. So that was thought one. Hey, like, should I go in and fight this dude, grab him, stop him from dragging this girl out of the store? Because at this moment he was getting ready to pull her out of the store because she wasn't cooperating with what he was saying. My second thought was to record the incident. I'm like, hey, like, do I need to record this? Just so that if anything bad happens, that people will be able to see something. Hey, somebody needs to see exactly what's going on here. And I thought about the fact that, no, recording it, like what would that really do? It's kind of coward of me to record it when I can do something about the situation. My third thought was to call the police. Now, the employees there were some older women there because this is a soul food restaurant. Normally older women or older people after church. It's a family spot. That's where they come to eat on Sundays. And I got there early, so nobody from church was there. No deacons had arrived. There's an older man, me, this 6'5" giant, and everyone else, is just employees. And so instantly the right thought came to my mind, which was thought number 4. I politely walked up to the guy, tapped him on the shoulder, and I said, "Hey, brother, I just want to let you know that there are some cameras in this building that are watching everything that you do, and that you don't want to do anything crazy in here. You might want to let this ride here and just leave. The police is already on the way." And so in a calm voice, I let him know that. He turned around, he walked off, and in the midst of him walking off, he said, "This ain't over. That bitch deserves to die." Excuse me, Mom, for cussing. I apologize. Guys, the situation left me sad because I felt powerless for her. But then as a man, I was questioning myself on if I made the right decision. And we're going to get a little bit deeper in that in a second. Hopefully you guys can make sure that I don't forget. But I kind of feel bad, because, as men, what we're taught to do, which is to protect women at all costs, put our life on the line, for the manhood, and, we're supposed to stand up for domestic violence. The type of men I was raised around, we don't really allow for women to be mistreated or mishandled, you called out of their name, beat on, we don't really allow those type of things around the men that I grew up around. And so also what I see on social media as far as the responses and the reactions that we get from seeing a bunch of these fighting videos, especially when you have women fighting on videos and you have men standing around recording, and then you look and it's like, well, what are the men doing? Are those actual men? Because we have a definition of what a good man is and, what males are, biological males. But a good man wouldn't stand around and promote women to fight. A good man wouldn't stand around and allow for a woman to be beat on in his presence. Especially understanding that, women are the weaker vessels, and, whether that be physically or emotionally, that's debatable. But I just feel like the man in me knew that I should protect this woman at all costs. And I felt bad because in the instance of my first thought, second thought, third thought, he had her cornered, at the wall. She was in a position where she couldn't run, she couldn't escape his presence because of how big, this guy was. And so I left feeling bad. And so there's more to the story. Before I left, I looked at a young woman in her eyes and I told her, I said, make sure that you leave this situation and make sure that you never go back. Because I told her that this situation is not going to get any better. And it was as simple as that. I was in a rush. I had somewhere to be, but I was trying my best to make sure that the scene was secure and that she was safe and the police had been called. And as I was getting ready to walk off, I saw him. He walked out of the door, hopped in his car, and he walked away. And so he drove away. So I assumed that, she may have been put out of the car, or, she may have asked to get out of the car. We don't know what type of situation that it was. But I made sure to let her know before that I left, just to make sure that you never go back to that situation, because it won't get any better. Now, in my case, I really didn't know at the time if I had made the right decision. Like I said, based upon those seconds that she was in front of him, anything could have happened. She could have been punched, hit, drug out of the door, who knows what. Now, I put this situation on Facebook, and a lot of people, they say, hey, Justin, well, it was a great, commendable job. We appreciate you for standing up for her during that moment. Cool. And then a lot of, people, they also said, well, Justin, I would have allowed them just to have their moment, and I would have gotten my food and just left. And me, guys, I just don't know if I could have gotten my food and just left. I just don't know if I can. I don't know if it's just how I've been raised. I don't know if it's the heart inside of me. I don't know if it's the fact that I just can't turn a blind eye towards certain things. But I truly believe that, um, you know, as a man, we're supposed to do something, even if it's just to say something. Um, when I thought about this situation at the end of the day, what I did do, if I didn't fight him or, attack him, as I would have wanted to, guys, I'm just 5'9", 155. And in my mind, I truly believe I could have fought that guy. But guess what? We didn't know that he had a car outside. So imagine, I fight him. The police haven't arrived yet. There's nobody in here that could break the fight up. And, because he gets mad that I'm going to pick up one of these chairs and do him like Craig did Debo, he goes outside and gets a gun and pulls it on me. And here I am, shot or hurt or dead because, I'm trying to play peacemaker in a situation that I don't even really know how this was caused or what derived it or where it derived from. And so I'll leave that question with you guys. What do you guys think that I should have done in that situation? What would you have done in that situation? Would you have stepped in and protected her? Would you have fought him? Would you have just pulled out the phone and recorded it and made a video later? That was an option, but guys, I tried to zoom out and look at the situation from if I had watched myself on a video, on the restaurant videos, like man standing there holding the phone while woman gets beat. Like I just couldn't. But I don't know, guys. I mean, maybe that would have been a good thing to do to make sure that we had evidence to send to the police. I don't know. But I do want to know what you guys would have done in that situation. I do want to say that domestic violence is something that is serious. Men and women seems that we all have issues on both sides. Whether that is how we were raised or uh, how we handle our relationships. Um, music and movies, they have influences on us. Um, the the display that we had, just from our parents and grandparents, certain things like that, they really help shape the behaviors uh, that we show and that we display in our relationships. And so I'm praying for that woman. I'm praying for her. I'm praying for any woman out there that is in a situation where a man is threatening to kill you, threatening your life. Get out of the situation. Get out. Get out. Get out. Find a way to get out. I was proud of this young woman for running into a public restaurant. Do whatever you need to do to get out of these situations where you're not sure if your life is safe. Do whatever you need to do. You're not going to hurt him too much by getting away from him hurting you. And fellas, same to you. If you are in a relationship or a situation where you know that this is abuse, there are other women out there who would treat you different. Find a way. Get out. Get out. Trust the process. Do whatever you need to do. But get out. Once again, guys, my name is Justin Evans. I thank you guys for watching today's segment. I wouldn't be here without you guys. Thankful for everyone that supports this show. Make sure that you guys comment, like, and subscribe, and join us for more conversations just like these. The chat box is open right now because I'd love to hear you guys' feedback from today's conversation. Peace, love, and blessings to you all. Until next time, it's Justin Evans.